Welcome to Economic Frontiers, the podcast where we examine the trends reshaping our economy and society. I'm Michael Reynolds, and today we're tackling a subject with profound implications for our future, population decline, and why young people are increasingly hesitant to start families.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emma Chen. That's right, Michael. Despite the fact that most young Americans still aspire to get married and have children, birth rates in the United States have been falling consistently since 2007. The decline has actually accelerated recently, with rates dropping another 3% between 2022 and 2023.
It's quite alarming when you look at the numbers. The Congressional Budget Office recently reduced its long-term fertility projection from 1.7 to 1.6 children per woman. For context, the replacement rate, the level needed just to maintain our population without immigration, is 2.1.
And this isn't just a statistical curiosity. These trends have real implications for our economy, social systems, and cultural identity. Today, we'll explore the economic and social factors preventing young people from starting families, as well as the cultural shifts that have changed how people view marriage and parenthood.
Let's start with what's perhaps the most frequently cited barrier to family formation: economics. Emma, what are the financial hurdles that young adults face today?
Student loan debt is a major factor, Michael. Many young adults begin their careers already tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Studies show that college graduates with student loan debt are significantly less likely to own homes compared to graduates without such debt. For example, among 30 to 34-year-old college graduates, those without student loan debt are nearly 14% more likely to own a home.
And home ownership has traditionally been seen as a prerequisite for family formation. If you can't afford a stable living situation, the prospect of raising children becomes much more daunting.
Exactly. Housing costs have skyrocketed relative to incomes. In the 1950s, the median home price was about $7,354, which is roughly $44,600 in today's dollars. As of 2023, the median home price in the U.S. is around $353,000, a nearly 690% increase in real terms.
That's staggering. And it's not just housing. Healthcare costs have risen dramatically too, right?
Absolutely. In the 1950s, the cost of childbirth in a hospital was about $100, which is approximately $1,000 in today's dollars. Now, even with insurance, the out-of-pocket costs can be several $1,000s. And that's just for the delivery, not including prenatal care or any complications that might arise.
So when young people look at their financial situation, they're seeing massive student debts, unaffordable housing, and high healthcare costs. It's no wonder they're postponing having children or deciding not to have them at all.
There's also what economists call the two-income trap. In many households today, both partners need to work full-time just to maintain a middle-class lifestyle. This creates a difficult situation for family formation, as childcare costs can consume a significant portion of one parent's income.
And that relates to another crucial factor: job insecurity. Many young adults today work in the gig economy or have positions without guaranteed hours or benefits. This economic precariousness makes it harder to commit to the long-term financial responsibility of raising children.
That's a great point, Michael. Stable employment used to be the norm, but now many young people hop from job to job, either by choice or necessity. This creates income volatility that's not conducive to family planning.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about social and cultural factors. Beyond economics, what else has changed in how people approach family formation?
One of the most significant shifts is what sociologists call the transition from a cornerstone to a capstone model of marriage. In the past, marriage was seen as a foundation for adulthood, the cornerstone upon which you built your life. Now, marriage is often viewed as a capstone, something you do after you've established your career, financial stability, and personal identity.
So rather than getting married in your early 20s and growing together, the expectation is now that you should be completely established before you commit to marriage and children.
Precisely. And this shifts the timeline significantly. People are spending more time in education, establishing careers, and exploring relationships before settling down. The average age of first marriage has risen to around 30 for men and 28 for women, several years later than just a few decades ago.
There's also been a rise in what philosophers call expressive individualism, the idea that personal fulfillment and self-expression take precedence over social obligations. This mindset makes people more hesitant to take on the sacrifices that parenthood requires.
We've also seen major changes in gender roles and expectations. Women have vast more educational and career opportunities than in previous generations, which is wonderful, but our social structures haven't fully adapted. Women often still bear the majority of childcare and household responsibilities, even when working full-time.
That's the so-called second shift, where women work all day and then come home to another full set of responsibilities. Without more equitable sharing of domestic duties or better support systems, many women are choosing to delay childbearing or have fewer children.
There's also a factor that young adults today have grown up witnessing high divorce rates among their parents' generation. About 40% of marriages end in divorce. This makes many hesitant about marriage itself, wanting to be absolutely certain before making that commitment.
It's interesting that despite all these challenges, surveys show that most young Americans still want to get married and have children eventually. About 65% of unmarried Americans report that they would be interested in getting married at some point, and the figure is even higher, 76% for young singles aged 18 to 29.
That suggests that the desire for family formation remains strong, but people feel the conditions aren't right yet. They're waiting for financial security, the right partner, or perhaps a more supportive policy environment.
Speaking of policy, what kinds of interventions might help reverse the declining birth rate?
Well, many countries with low birth rates have implemented family-friendly policies like paid parental leave, subsidized childcare, tax benefits for families with children, and housing assistance for young families. These measures aim to remove the economic barriers to having children.
Some places have seen modest success with these approaches. France, for instance, has maintained a higher fertility rate than many European countries, partly due to its comprehensive family support policies.
But policy alone may not be enough. We might need broader cultural shifts that revalue family life and create more work-life balance. The pandemic showed that flexible work arrangements are possible for many jobs. That kind of flexibility could make it easier to balance career and family responsibilities.
It's also worth considering how educational and career pathways could be restructured. Currently, the prime years for establishing a career often coincide with peak fertility years, especially for women. Finding ways to make these pathways more compatible with family formation could help.
Michael, what concerns you most about the population decline trend?
What worries me is the long-term sustainability of our social systems. As the dependency ratio, the proportion of retirees to workers, increases, fewer working individuals will be supporting more retirees. This puts enormous strain on Social Security, healthcare, and other public services.
And while immigration has helped offset population decline in many countries, it's not a complete solution. Immigrant birth rates tend to converge with the host country within a generation or two, and there simply aren't enough high fertility countries to supply the entire industrialized world with immigrants indefinitely.
Exactly. We need a comprehensive approach that addresses both the economic barriers and the cultural shifts that have led to declining birth rates.
As we wrap up today's discussion, what message would you like to leave with our listeners, Michael?
I think the key takeaway is that population decline isn't just a demographic issue. It's an economic, social, and cultural challenge that affects everyone. Whether or not you personally want children, the sustainability of our society depends on maintaining a reasonable balance between generations.
And for those who do want families but feel constrained by current conditions, it's important to advocate for policies and workplace cultures that make family formation more accessible. At the personal level, it might mean reevaluating priorities and recognizing that there's never a perfect time to start a family.
That's absolutely right, Emma. And for our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. What barriers have you experienced to starting a family? What changes would make family formation more